We're on the road again, West Central Saskatchewan. Thanks for joining me here in the Country 104 and Classic Hits Cruiser. Today, we are on our way out to the beautiful town of Rosetown, somewhere we actually drove through to get to our last community spotlight. So, thanks for joining me. We're going to head out and see what's all going on around the good old town of Rosetown, see what makes them tick, and see what makes their hometown such a special place to live. Nicknamed the heart of the wheat belt, Rosetown is located about an hour southwest of Saskatoon and an hour east of Kindersley at the junction between Highways 7 and 4. Home to about 2,300 people according to the latest census numbers, Rosetown was the Communities in Bloom champion in 2004. Rosetown is known as a sports town and is the original home to four-time Scotties Tournament of Hearts bronze medalist Sherry Middaugh and former LA Galaxy soccer striker Rob Friend, who is now the CEO of the Pacific FC in the Canadian Premier League, but is also home to a number of politicians throughout the years as well. So Rosetown's actually the first community out of all our community spotlights where I've actually spent a fair amount of time there, because back as a kid, growing up in Wilkie, we used to play hockey against Rosetown quite a bit. And funny story about Rosetown, actually. 3 years in a row, count them 3. You know how in minor hockey, it's somebody's job every game to bring the jerseys. It kind of switches off between families every single game. 3 years in a row, we forgot to bring our jerseys to Rosetown. 3 different families all forgot to bring them. And so I've actually worn Rosetown Red Wings colors on more than one occasion, but never played a game for them once. So here it is, your view as we come into Rosetown. Actually, I should wait till we're over the hill. Well, as you can see, the sign says Rosetown Attractions. That's because we come over the hill and look at that. There's Rosetown. Let's go drive around town and see what kind of trouble we can get up into. Now, if you've been to Rosetown before, you have seen this thing up here behind me, the famous Rosetown Water Tower, all decked out in green and white for the Saskatchewan Rough Riders. But what you might not know is this is actually a spot worth stopping here, not just to look at this awesome water tower, but all the different stuff that's going on around beside it. You've got the Rosetown swimming pool here, you've got the Rosetown Handgun Club, you've got this awesome little park here that Rosetown has, along with some tennis and basketball courts. And on the south side of things too, you've got another cenotaph paying tribute to those who gave their lives for us here in our country. So, not just a cool water tower, lots of really cool reasons to stop here too.
The Kinsmen actually contributed to that park and improved all of the equipment there. So that's another great feature about living in Rosetown, is there's very active volunteer groups within our community. We have the Lions, we have the Kinsmen, Royal Purple Elks, Masons, lots of great groups that volunteer and put in a lot of time to help make our community as great as it is.
One weird little detail I found about Rosetown that I actually really love is that there's almost 3 different main streets that all serve different purposes. You'll find Parkside Auto Body on Highway 4, which is your public service main street with things like the rink, the hospital, and the school. Then there's Highway 7, which has all your big recognizable brand names for people driving through from Alberta to Saskatoon, like the Rosetown A&W. And then you've got your actual main street, where you'll find tons of locally owned businesses all walking distance apart from each other, for example, Prairie Automotive Parts. So Rosetown's a busy place, but the way it's set up is very efficient for whatever purpose brings you to town.
It's a very vibrant community, lots of community involvement, different community activities that are going on throughout the year. Some big events for the Harvest Festival back again this year in October that group's been planning away.
So I'm going to stop there for a second. Tell me a little bit about Harvest Festival. What's that all like when it actually goes down? What kind of things do you guys all do at Harvest Festival?
There's a large parade that involves the community and all the businesses, so it's actually one of the bigger ones in the area. And everybody comes out because it seems to be a time where there's lots of reunions for schools too, so a lot of people come to town. It's near Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's one of the times when the town fills up during the summer months or fall.
Now this splash park behind me is one of the most beautiful little spots in Rosetown you're going to find, and I don't just mean that in a visual sense, but in what it stands for as well is a beautiful message too. This is the Gasper Family Splash Park, and it's named after the Gasper family, who all tragically passed away together in a car accident some years ago. For more information on them, you should check out the Gasper Family Foundation on Facebook, but just look at what they've done to honor the Gasper family behind me. You've got this awesome park that's themed around the interests of the family before they unfortunately passed away. They've got these awesome baseball spots. There's lots of hockey references in here, and each of the kids' initials is memorialized here in a heart on the ground as well. Such a beautiful little spot, and it's a little bit hidden away in Rosetown too, so if you are coming down for a visit, make sure you check this spot out too. You won't be sad that you did.
Well, it's like a family-oriented community with lots of diverse activities going on. We have a large school division here, so lots of people come to school from other towns and areas to Rosetown. So there's lots of sporting events, and then in the fall there's football, junior football, and then we've got good baseball programs on, and of course we get into the hockey season. So it's a good sporting town, I find. I'm kind of from a sporting background, so I like to see that too. Lots of activities. So.
Now this awesome little spot that I'm sitting in right now is at the Rosetown Tea House, right next to the museum as well. Now I won't spoil what's inside the museum over there for you, but I will tell you that there's lots of really cool exhibits in there. But this spot here, the tea house, this isn't just an exhibit, this is actually still being used. In fact, I was just in a moment ago, there's some folks in there having some tea. It's great, and it smells like warm, fresh pie inside as well. It's absolutely awesome. Such a cute little spot, and plus, you're right next to the highway. Not a bad spot to just sit and watch the traffic go by. So that's been my trip to Rosetown, and I got to thank you once again to everybody in Rosetown who was so welcoming and kind and showed me around and let me film and all this good stuff. Really, really cool little community that I've been to a lot, but never really spent some time in before. Now I'm gonna have to make a return trip because there's lots to do in Rosetown. So next week I'm off to Kerrobert, and I think I said I was gonna be there last week. Either way, I'm going to be there this coming week. So if you have any ideas for places I should check out in Kerrobert, send me a text on the Rosetown Mainline Mile text line for Country 104, 306-463-4649. If you want to make sure that I get it, that's the best way to do so. Also, would love it if you want to show me around your community in Kerrobert, then text me, let me know. It would be great to have somebody to show me around the beautiful community of Kerrobert. So, thank you very much once again for joining me on the road, and we will be back with you again next week, saluting the town of Kerrobert. So come on out and have some fun.